In this episode, we go over who we believe are the top 5 free agents still left that could provide value for a team.
Hey everybody, this is Jesse,
And I'm Justin.
and this is the Brothers Sports Show, and the draft is almost here, but we have a top 5 list of players that are still looking for spots in the NFL. At number 5, we have Jay Cutler. I don't really like this guy too much because he does not lead his team very much. I think that's why he's not on a team right now.
Where is there anywhere that he's projected to go?
I don't think anybody wants him
Why?
because every past ex-player that he's played with has said bad things about him. He obviously, you can just tell just by looking at him, he doesn't care about anything. I mean,
I think he
he
cares.
just has that whatever look all the time. I mean, when he was in the NFC Championship game in 2010, I think he hurt his thumb or something like that. I mean, yeah, that could take players out, but it's an NFC Championship game, and he just went on the side and threw a fit.
Well, if it's your throwing hand and you can't throw a ball correctly, you got to let the other person step in because your pride has to be put to the side to put
Yeah,
the
but
team
at
first.
the time, he was better than the backup.
Yeah, but not with the broken thumb.
I'm not even sure if it was actually a broken thumb. I think that's just because I forgot. But I heard he could still play with it. It was playable. I mean, Philip Rivers played with it. I don't know, torn meniscus or ACL.
Yeah, and that guy
And-
sucks every season.
But
So
he
what's
still
your
did it. He still tried. I mean,
best thing he can do for his team is retire. But
I don't
that's
know.
another topic.
I think this is the end of Jay Cutler in the NFL. I don't think he'll even become a backup. I know he's still trying to look for a job. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think he will become a backup once the draft passes, and things get a little bit more closer to the beginning of the season. After all the trades are done and all the draft is done, I think teams are going to start looking at who we can bring as a backup. Obviously, they'll have to have a lower salary and have to drop his price for what he wants. But I think he'll come in as a backup just because some people need that veteran because they have a lot of rookies and they need a veteran quarterback on their team just to be there in case something does happen. And in 2016, he only played 5 games. But in 2014 and 2015, he really didn't do that bad stats-wise. I mean, he had 18 touchdowns in 2014 with the 66.
He had 18 touchdowns?
He had
That's not
28
good.
touchdowns.
Oh.
And then in 2014 or 2015, he had 21 touchdowns for 3,600 yards. And then in 2014, he had 3,800 yards. So he's been throwing good the last couple of years. He got hurt in 2016.
Yeah, but look at his
Which-
interceptions.
11.
He has 18 in 2014. 11. That's not bad. But he has 12 in
That's
14,
still not bad.
2012. But it's when he throws it. He
but
never
he's always been touchdown to interception ratio positive. So he's never gone a year where he's thrown more picks than interception or more picks than touchdowns, like a handful of other rookie quarterbacks you see out there. So a lot of the teams, not a lot of teams, but there might be a handful that are like, no, we're going for a championship year. We have everything set up. We just need a quarterback. That's where I think he would fit in.
Well, then we're coming back to his leadership ability, which he does not have. He has none of that whatsoever. His ex-teammates have said it all throughout his career that this guy just does not care. He's not one of the guys in the locker room, which quarterback he needs to try to be like more outgoing or keep his team upbeat and all that. He does not do that. He is not good for the team.
Well,
any
maybe he
team.
just didn't do very well in Chicago. I mean, all of his top receivers have left. He lost Marshall a few years ago. Jeffrey's gone. He's losing all of his top people. So, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
but
he'll be a better fit. People
he-
can change.
He had Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, and Matt Forte, and they still couldn't even get make the playoffs. That is a loaded offense.
Yeah, but in the since 2010, he hasn't finished a season. He's finished 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons, and then the other 4 he was injured. So the seasons he was in, so let's say 2014, he had 66% completion ratio, which is his best that he's had yet. 3,800 yards, which is the second best he's had yet. 28 touchdowns, which is the best that he's had. So just 2 years ago, He had a solid year. Offense only portrays part of it. You can have an average offense and a terrible defense and go nowhere. You need to have a stellar offense.
He did have a stellar offense with those offensive that talent. Like that's a lot of talent. Like his only issue should be how do I spread this around? Like
and I think he did pretty
it's
well with
insane.
that.
Matt Forte's even a passing back, and he could run through people. He just needs to be able to elevate the team. He could throw 4,000 yards and all that stuff. That's great, but he needs to elevate the team. He needs to make people better. He needs to lead his team. He can't just sit back and be like, yeah, I mean, you could catch a football if you want. Like, I don't really care. We could try the next play if you want. Like, whatever. Like,
I don't know if he has that attitude. I think he cares
dude,
a
he
little
totally
bit more.
has that attitude.
I think the problem when he was at when you have an all-star team like he did in Chicago, I think you have too many top players, and it doesn't always go well together. I think they need to take him and put him with some average receivers, and he can turn them great. But when you have too many great players on one team, sometimes the heads start to butt.
No, his receivers talked crap on him.
See,
Martellus Bennett.
so why would you want to lead up a team that's talking crap on you?
But if you were a good leader, they would praise you. They're not going to go talk behind your back or talk crap.
That's not true.
Well,
You can have the greatest people in the world, and they still get talked bad about.
No, I'm saying if you had a good relationship with his receivers and his teammates, it's about relationships.
Yes, but even the receivers didn't get along together.
I'm pretty sure they got.
I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Like
Jeffries and Marshall were always getting into it. Forte, I mean, he was just, I guess,
Marshall
on the
gets
side.
into it with everybody on his team.
I know, but what I'm saying
every
is
team
you
he's
can't
been
put all the blame on one guy when there's an entire offense that isn't getting together, just like the Jets. With the entire team is just fighting. What is it? The last year Rex was there, there was no unity. So you can't blame a quarterback when the other team is talking bad. And it's just, I think I would be the same thing as him. If he was there and everyone's talking crap about him, and everyone else is fighting, it's like, fuck it. What do I care?
That's his attitude, and that's why.
Yeah,
he gets
so
nowhere.
what? He'll get somewhere. He'll get picked up. He has good stats.
All right. So moving on to number 4, we have Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he'll probably get picked up, maybe as a number 1 starter. But he does come with a lot of locker room issues, especially since last year he was. I can't think of the word right now. Protesting.
But would that affect him getting picked
I
up?
can't think of it right now.
Would that affect him getting picked up?
Yeah, because it was a big deal last season. What was he? God, it's in my head. I can't think of the fucking word.
Taking a knee for something. I don't know. Probably the Black Lives Matter.
Oh yeah,
shooting.
it was about that. It was about him not liking what America is about and everything. Yet he didn't even vote. Like he made all this a big ordeal over it and everything, and other people started doing the same thing. Players in the NFL started kneeling and everything. However, he didn't even vote for the presidency election.
Yeah, but that's. I don't think that's.
That's how America became what it is. That's how things change. Is you vote. That's why there's that option.
But I don't understand why that's relevant of him getting picked up. I don't think his political stance is going to affect him getting picked up.
It will, because it affects the locker room. Because once you bring politics into the locker room, it could change everything.
And everyone in San Francisco supported him when he was doing it.
I don't think
and other
everyone.
players.
I read a couple articles where some weren't happy with it and started.
You always
disrupting
have
it.
a handful. You're not going to have all 60 some odd people in a room agree with what you're doing.
I know, but that's why certain locker rooms don't discuss these things, because they're there to play football and they just try not to ruin the locker room chemistry.
I think that's still irrelevant to him getting picked up.
Well,
I think him getting picked up will come down to his stats on. Because he was really good when Harbaugh was there, and has tanked since Harbaugh left. Him and Harbaugh did really well together. But he also did good as a split quarterback, to where he would run a lot and he'll also throw a lot. Once you take away the running game and force him to throw, that's when he started to decline, and that's where you see him and Wilson. They kind of were about the same 1 year. Wilson picked up on staying in the pocket a little bit more and throwing it, and he became very solid throwing it, to where Kaepernick hasn't hit that yet. And I think it's just a matter of, can he progress to go away from the running game and jump into the passing game a little bit more and becoming stronger because he hasn't played a full season since 2014. In 2015, he was injured and only played 9 games, and then 2016 he only played 12. So he needs to be a little bit more solid, but again, he needs to be with a team that can use him now and use that effectiveness. Because if you get him back to how he was, I think he could do very well.
Yeah, I don't really know what teams could or really need him at this point. Um,
A lot of people were saying the Broncos
well,
because it just depends. Because we have a good team, but we're struggling with our quarterbacks. We have Simeon, who's coming in at his second year playing, and Paxton, who says he's not a rookie anymore, and he's got the rookie season out from underneath him, but he only played 2 games and lost both of them.
so he's still a rookie.
Yeah, in my opinion,
Essentially.
I don't think he's got the rookie season under from that because he hasn't played a full season. You play a full season, then you can say, "Hey, I've had a full season." Just because you sat on the bench for 14 games does not say you can get out of your rookie season. Like you actually have to play and go against the defense instead of watching them. But we have Demaryius Thomas who wants more receptions. We have Emmanuel Sanders who wants more receptions. We have a solid defense and we also have a solid offense. We're going to build up our offensive line during the draft. As well. We've already done quite a bit this offseason. But they were saying they need someone in the quarterback position with experience to come in now to help. It's kind of what they did with Manning. Manning, they knew that he was only going to last a couple years, but they can get a championship out of him. A lot of people are saying that they feel Kaepernick would be a better chance of us getting to a championship than with what we have now because he took San Francisco to the championship, I don't know, 2013. I forgot what year it was.
2012.
So 2012 when they lost to the Ravens, but that was still a close game.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't bring his political stuff to a different team.
I still think it's 100% irrelevant. You're making a case for nothing.
No, it's a case because a lot of teams really don't want that shit in their locker room. A lot of coaches definitely don't want to have to tell players not to start things. They just want to focus on football and football only. And if he could do that, not bring that stuff, and also readjust his game, the way he plays the game, and actually stick in the pocket a little bit more and use his legs to get out if he's in trouble and not try to run through linebackers. I mean, that's great. That's what he needs to do too. But he cannot get injured. If he gets injured in week 4, there's no reason to have this guy around if he's not going to listen to the coach or anybody else telling him to stay in the pocket.
I think he'll get better. He needs to go to a different team. He's been in San Francisco. He's been talked about being traded for the last 2 years ever since Harbaugh left. And it hasn't happened yet. So once it happens, I think it'll definitely boost his morale, give him some spirit, especially if he goes to a team that has a chance. You put him on a team that doesn't have a chance like the Browns, and I don't see it happening. I think he needs a solid team with solid coaches with a solid chance, and it'll give him what he needs to get back to a championship.
Maybe. Okay, moving on to number 3. Now, Jamal Charles, he has not talked about a lot this offseason. Really not sure why. Maybe I'm missing something. I know he had his 2 back-to-back injury seasons, and he's over age 30. However, before those injuries, he was doing really, really good. And no, I don't think any teams have even been interested in him so far. But I wanted to bring him up because I think he still has time in the NFL as long as he can stay healthy.
I think health is his biggest issue. He's only played 4 full seasons since he came in the season in 2008. The last 2, he played 5 games in 2015 and 3 games in 2016. So he's getting older. How old is he gonna be? He was born in '86, so he's gonna be 31 this year.
Yeah, he's.
And so it's hard to get a running back who's 31 years old that is 2 years removed essentially from playing. He's played 8 games in the last 2 years. That's where I see his biggest hurdle is where can he be effective when the injuries show up.
No, he's not going to be an every down back anymore. He's going to have to most likely be a committee back along with other running backs because he can't handle all that anymore. He can't take the hits, and he's just not the same player. I don't know who could take him. Maybe the Saints. Give Drew Brees a little bit more help. See how they do. I mean, they still have.
Because he's more of a first down running back or a red zone running back.
Yeah, I mean he could take the screens as well. He could receive the ball. He has pretty good hands. He could really do it all if he can again stay healthy. I don't know. I'd like to see him on a team. I like the guy.
Well, Patriots can take him.
Well, maybe and put him through the off season. I don't know, training camp. See how he does. Whoever.
And then release him in August.
Yeah, probably. Okay, number 2 we have Darrell Revis. This guy's a little interesting. I think he still wants money. Like he still wants a lot of money. I don't think he's willing to lower his price. Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe last year he was starting to feel the decline. Maybe this year he works a little bit harder to have a couple more better years than last year. I know he visited with the Patriots and the Saints. Was it? No, that was Adrian Peterson.
I don't know who he's visited with.
Yeah, and no, he didn't even visit with the Patriots.
No. He was
No.
with them a couple years ago. I don't think they even want him. So that's the.
No, we were interested for a little bit, and then things came out showing that we weren't interested anymore.
So
For the Patriots.
I think it comes down to age because, I mean, I still think he has it. I mean, in 2015, so just 2 years ago, he had 5 interceptions in a season, and that was his best since 2009 when he was with the Jets. Last season he had a little, and that was only with 14 games played. Last season he had a little bit of a fall off, but I think it's the whole Jets
A
organization.
little bit. He got burnt a lot
Yeah,
last season.
but I think it also has to do with an organization. But they're still trying to figure out what they're doing over there. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think it's the organization because he's spent all but 2 of his years of his career in New York.
yeah,
So
he's
they
also
know what
had
he's all about and they know how he plays and everything. I just think he's
that
just
is, and you don't see what happens in the back office though. You always see what happens on the field. But you gotta look at the back, just like with Harbaugh in San Francisco, is everything looked good on the surface, but he argued a lot with the back office, and that's what ultimately led him to leave. It could be the exact same concept with him because he has, like I said, in 2015 a solid year. In 2016, I don't think you just have a solid year then fall and then become nothing. I think it just needs to be.
well, that was Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning was a
And
lot.
that happens to a lot of players. One
Yeah,
year,
but Peyton Manning's a lot older, and he's had surgeries, and he's also been hit a lot more than Revis.
I know, but he tore his ACL and he runs around a lot. He has to keep up with these guys. He's like 3 years off of it. 3 or
When did he
4?
do it? In 2012?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 4 years off
no.
of it.
I don't know.
And again, in
12 or 13.
2015, which was 2 years after it, he had 5 interceptions.
I don't know. I think he's gonna have a lot better season this coming season, only because I think he's a competitive guy and he wants to get back to being one of the best cornerbacks. I honestly wouldn't mind having him back in New England. Maybe the Saints could take him, or I forgot who else was interested in him. I don't know if there's really anybody.
No one that
And
I
I know the
of.
Jets definitely don't want him because someone in their front office, or I think so, said they wouldn't even have him. They wouldn't even play him if he played for free.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure who that was. I just saw it and I read it and I forgot, but I thought that was pretty crazy.
Oh,
I mean, he still has a lot of value.
I remember one article that I read was talking about him switching over to safety. How do you think he would do as safety at a different team?
I don't know. I mean, he could maybe try it. Let's see how he does. Maybe it won't fit for him. I know a couple people said that he's still able to do play cornerback. His ex teammate said that, well, among others, like coaches, said that he wasn't too far off towards the end of the season last year on certain plays. He got beat on them, but he started increasing his mobility and he started getting faster and he became really close on a couple plays. So he wasn't too far off. It might just take a good off season of work to get right back to where he was. But he's still not that old. He's like 30 something, but he's not that old yet.
Not for a safety. I mean, a safety you can play a lot more because it's a lot less running. It's more of just a over-the-top coverage. And if you go against a team like Patriots or someone else who does a bunch of dump passes or a bunch of short slants and doesn't go deep, just requires a little bit less on him. But I think he can do the whole. He'd be great at watching over the head because I know the Steelers were interested in him, but they no longer say that they are interested. So I don't think he'll be going there, but I think he would benefit a team very well of being on safety.
I think he should try it. If not, I mean, if he could find a team that was willing to work with him, maybe try a cornerback for a little while. Maybe if it doesn't work for him, then yeah, convert to safety in the middle of the season or something like
See, I
that.
don't think you convert like that.
I don't think
I
so
think
either.
if you're
But
going
I
to come
mean,
in, if he's going to go to a
that's
position,
what I'm saying. If he could find a team that will allow him to try to be cornerback, and if they will allow him to try to convert, I mean,
no, you don't
if the,
experiment like that.
well, he's played defense forever. I mean, he's got to have played safety at some point. Um,
I think if he gets signed, he's either going to get signed as a cornerback or he's going to get signed as a safety. I don't think it's going to be a well. Let's risk our season and try you out for 5-6 games. If it doesn't work out, then we'll just move you over to safety. It's like no, going into the
there's some
season
players that have done it.
and it never works out. It works out when they get into it, and then the off season they practice to be a safety, and then they come in their second year as that position. But I don't think if he goes to somewhere, he's gonna go somewhere and be in whatever position he gets signed on to be. Just like um, Tim Tebow, he really wanted to play as a quarterback, but people said, "Hey, we'd bring you on as a tight end." They're not gonna be like, "Hey, start off the first half of the season as a quarterback, and then we'll switch you to tight end if it doesn't work out."
Yeah, but he could also easily could have been converted to running back in the middle of the season too, because he's a runner as well. Just like Darrelle Revis plays defense in the secondary, he could probably easily switch over, no problem.
I don't think it's an easy switch like that, but that's just me. I don't know.
Anyways, coming to number one, we have Adrian Peterson. Again, probably asking for a little bit too much money. I think he overvalues himself over the age of 30, and maybe doesn't even realize that there are a lot younger players that are just as eager, and that aren't damaged goods. He visited. Now this is one that visited with the Patriots.
He
But
worked out
now
with the
they're not
Patriots.
interested in him. But I guess they were impressed with his workout. And then he visited with the Saints. I think they're still in talks. But other than that, I haven't heard any other teams really working out a visit with Adrian Peterson.
He's too expensive for what he wants. Just
Yeah.
because over the last 3 years, he has played 20 games. Last season, he only played 3. The year before that, he played the full 16. The year before that, he played 1. But in the year he did play a full season in 2015, he got 1,400 yards with 11 touchdowns. So he had a good year that year, as well as in 2012 was probably his best year. But I think he's too much of a risk, and if he does get signed, he has to drop his wants by a ton. Like, there's no way anyone's going to sign him to a 1-year, $10 million contract. If anything, it's going to be a 1-year, $3 million or something. And they're going to have, if they do it for anything more, they're going to have a safe way to get out to where, hey, we'll have you on for a year, but if you get injured, you're not going to get this. It's just like the guaranteed money. Like, hey, we'll give you $3 million contract with $1 million guaranteed. And if you can make it the rest of the season with bonuses, you'll make this much. But it's got to be a contingency in the contract for when he gets hurt.
I don't know. I mean, he could either go with the Saints or the Patriots, but he also puts on Twitter that he's really not worried about getting on a team this offseason. He's not really worried about any of that. Maybe he thinks people are going to pick him up when they think that they absolutely need him, or waiting for injuries, or I don't know what he's thinking. I think
I
he
don't
just
know
way
either.
overvalues himself right now.
I think I mean, and to me, he's the same way as Romo. Romo thought he was great. He has nothing to show for it, and no team showed interest. I mean, they were talking about like the Texans, but in reality, if the Texans wanted him, they would have picked him up. They wouldn't have like chatted about it for 6 months.
They were
would have
waiting
just
for him
done
to
it.
get released.
They wouldn't have done anything. I don't think they would have signed him. He's too much of a risk. Same thing with Peterson. They're just these injury-prone old guys trying to play a position. So
Yeah,
if
who knows? Maybe he still has like one more year in his um
that's why I think
in
because
himself. I don't
whoever
know.
signs him is going to sign him to a 1-year deal. He's not going to get a long term. He's 30. He just turned 32 last month. So I don't think he'll get. I don't think he's got another 3 seasons in him. Maybe if he gets signed a
No.
1-year deal and does amazing, then they might extend it to a 2-year. But I give him another 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
He'll probably get hurt this coming up year if he does play. He'll probably get hurt jogging onto the field.
ACL.
Yeah.
Oh, that would suck. Okay, well, there's our top 5 names that are looking for spots in the NFL. Let us know what you think. Catch you guys later. Thank you.
See ya. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. We truly appreciate it. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe, be sure to subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all at Bro Sports Media, as well as our website, brosportsmedia.com.